James, despite your rugged good looks and your amazing personality, Patti was just not attracted to you. What's the story? So today we have James and Patti McAlosic for part 2 of their story of how they fell in love.
Yeah.
Well, I think that so many people who watched the first podcast, it was a fantastic story, and they're like, "But what happened? What happened?" Even though we were, trying to lead people to God, they were like, "We actually want to know what your story. How did it mature? How did you end up together?"
Yeah, James and I met a long time, maybe in 89. And we dated in 93 3 times. I told him he was definitely not the kind of man I'd ever marry. And I ended it. And he told me at that point it was God's will that we be together. And but I didn't fall for that. And then I went away. I became a sister for 6.5 years. And James, what?
You gotta speak into the mic.
Oh, and
it's awkward.
And then, so then James brought Net up to Canada in 94, and I became a sister in 94. And then I left the sisters in 2000. And a dear friend of ours, Meg, contacted James, and then he came down to Minnesota where I was living with my parents. And we went out for a weekend. And I think our last podcast kind of covered that weekend. Like James is kind of professed his love for me, and I tried to cut him off at the knees and tell him there was no hope and there's no way I was ever going to be attracted to him, or, I wasn't interested in a relationship. I thought he was a great guy. I remember saying, you have virtue up the wazoo, but I just see me breaking your heart. And he said, well, my heart's my responsibility, not yours. So I think that's where we ended with the story.
After when I dropped you off.
Yeah.
At your house.
Yeah, there was a difference between this guy and the guy you had dated the week before.
Oh, yeah.
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 Just recap, what was the difference?
Yeah. So there was another Canadian who had come down, and we were set up, and he came down for a weekend, like 2 weeks before James came down for a weekend as well. And this guy checked all the boxes on my list. He was intellectual. He taught history of philosophy. He could salsa dance like nobody. He spoke like 4 languages. Like, this was all the stuff that I wanted. And then at the end of the 3 days, we went out on about 3 dates. He dropped me off in my parents' driveway, and he didn't say anything about like next step or anything. So I said, are we going to call or write? And he said, he paused. I don't remember, the pause kind of bugged me, but he paused, and then he said, well, you've got my number. And I thought, oh my gosh, I just ripped up his number when I got in the house. And I thought, that's ridiculous. Like, that's so not what I want. And then James came down 2 weeks later, and he didn't have anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. He had some things on my list. He was Catholic.
He had a good smile.
He had a good smile. Yeah, that's right.
Great teeth.
And he was fun, and we loved to dance together. Like, that was on my list too. But then, so he drops me off in my parents' driveway, same spot. And he says, can I call you every day? Like, before I could even like reach for the door, and that I thought, oh my gosh, I could feel, it was like the Lord was just presenting to me A and B,
Interesting.
You think you want A and you don't want B, but this is amazing. Like, I could just feel that's what I want. I like that. I like that you want to call me every day, even though I'm not sure I want you to call me every day. I really like that. And then he said, can I send you flowers? And I thought, oh gosh, absolutely. Send me flowers. And it was kind of like, those were that night, there was those 2 things, him saying my heart's my responsibility. And then, can I call you every day? That I thought, okay, there's more to him than I thought. And these are things that I didn't even know I wanted. And I didn't even know they were a thing, but to be able to come back from, me saying, I'm not attracted to you. I'll never be attracted to you. And, he's still like, so there's a chance, It's like.
So James, I don't want to waylay the conversation here, but I want to ask this question. Do you have any feelings towards option A?
Option A.
So
the other Canadian?
The other guy.
Do I have any feelings towards him?
Did anything come up for you whenever Patti is ever telling that story about other guys that she might have dated in the past? And,
let's see.
Like, be honest here.
Hey, you missed out. Like, hey, I'm grateful.
You feel sorry for him?
Yeah. No, I don't feel sorry for him. I think just that, I'm just grateful that he was the way he was, because then I was able to just love Patti the way she should be loved. You know what I mean? And he missed out, I guess, and that's okay with me. My spiritual director said to me, actually, we'll get into this a little bit, but he said, actually, we'll get into it. Maybe we'll get into the next date that we talked about.
Before you get into that, I just want to say, like, Sheena, you dated a lot of guys in Mullingar in a sweetheart sort of a way, and whenever you talk about, I dated him.
Marie, our daughter's over there on the desk, and her head went.
And so whenever you mention, I dated him, I'm like, I have an intense hatred for that guy. And so when Patty's talking about option A, I'm like, I wonder, does James hate him?
No.
Not in a kind of a Catholic way. It's just like in a pure, raw, human, masculine sort of way. I intensely don't like you, Well,
I think the thing I disliked most about that whole situation is I felt like he disrespected Patti, and I was just like, that's not okay. Do you know what I mean? To do that with any girl, even a girl that you're not attracted to, like, be real and honest and be able to say, hey, it's just, I appreciate the time. Thank you for your time. Like, it was just impolite. And I was
to
just
leave
like,
someone hanging.
Leave somebody hanging, and just disrespectful. Like, guys, don't tell her you got my number.
You got my number.
That's just disrespectful and not very honoring of the girl, whether you're going to go out with her again or not. Just being able to be grateful and gratitude and really
what should he have said to Patti if he was not interested in Patti?
I think being able to say thank you. I just think you're the most a beautiful person, but I don't think I'm just not interested in dating you at this time, or I'm just not interested in dating you. And but I really want you to know that you're a beautiful person, and I really appreciate being able to have the opportunity to be able to go out with you, and to be able to be real and honest. But you can be real and honest and not be rude. Do you know what I mean?
And Patti, how would you have received that from Professor Fantastic? Good looking?
Yeah, I think I would have received it fine. Yeah, I mean, it might have stung a little at the beginning, but. That's actually a kind of a pet peeve of mine, that when I'm like directing girls and stuff and they're dating different guys, it's very, very common that men will just stop calling or
ghosting.
Yeah.
Or
and they
email
don't,
or text. It's like,
or
whatever.
Even that's even worse, but it's like, I've asked guys sometimes, like, why don't you just tell her? And they're like, I'd crush her. It's like, I think men have the idea that women can't handle the actual truth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find you attractive. It's like, I think whatever it is, you're
a good looking girl, but I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah. Or, I don't think you have to say they're not good looking, but you can just say something that's like, I just don't see anything, or whatever. Like, but so many girls are like, yeah, he just kind of dropped me, or he just broke up with me, but he wouldn't tell me why. He won't, I'd ask him, like, what is it? And they won't tell me. And I think it's because men are afraid to hurt the girl, but it's almost worse to kind of live with this unknown of what was it?
What
happened?
I was dating a girl before, Sheena, and I just assumed she was in love with me because I'm great. And why wouldn't she be in love with me? I'm being totally honest.
Sure.
And I eventually plucked up the courage to tell her that I didn't love her. And she's like, well, I don't love you too. kind of thing. And she wasn't saying it to get back at me. She was just being really honest.
Mhm.
So at that stage, we were able to say, well, look, this isn't going anywhere.
And why?
Why are we dating?
And it's
and she was a
freeing.
great girl.
And then
But
it's freeing, right?
It was freeing. And so it was, yeah. And funny, I haven't seen that girl since, but
I think we need to pepper this advice with knowing your audience. Like, I think that it's a bit like talking about having courageous conversations to resolve conflict. You have to know who you're having that conversation with, if they're open to hearing what you have to say with love. Because I do think that to say to a girl, I don't find you attractive, could crush her. And I do think that there's other ways of saying it that are like, look, I don't see our future together. So then you're not, do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do. And I think you're right. I think there is a fine line there.
Yeah.
I think it's kinder though. And maybe this is just me. I would rather hear the raw, ugly truth.
You're a direct communicator.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I hate the little nuances where my mind then can be like, well, was it this or was it that? Or does that mean this or does that mean that? I'd almost rather somebody say, you know what, I just don't find you attractive. Be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, but
now I know.
But I think you could lead into that if somebody wants to know. Like, I think it would be like,
yes.
look, I don't see
there.
us.
That's a good
Yeah.
call.
I don't
Right.
see a future for us.
Right.
And then if the person says, well,
what do you mean by that?
yeah, and then there's an invitation to go there. But
I like that.
Yeah.
Because the girls I'm thinking of, they would like multiple follow-ups, like, call them a week later and be like, can we talk? I just need to understand.
yeah,
Why did we break up? Like, I
Yeah.
don't get it.
yeah,
And they'd be like, well, and kind of sidestep. And I think it's just me, I'm
Mhm.
just not in a place. And it's like, but that doesn't make sense. And,
yeah.
they just didn't feel like they were getting the real story.
Yeah.
So,
And I think, like, guys, just do it face to face. Don't
Yeah.
do the text thing. Don't do the call thing. Go and meet with her and at least give her the respect she's due.
And vice versa.
Girls with
for
guys.
guys.
Yeah. Absolutely,
it's
both
respect.
ways.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Being face to face where you can just say and have a real honest conversation. And two, that it's between you. Like, it's not going to be sent out around the world as to
Yeah,
how,
that's
you
important.
know what I mean? Like,
Not to
it's a
sensationalize it.
private, honest conversation that you can just be real with one another and just here I am,
Yeah.
So
I would love if people, let's hear what happened next, but if people put the lens on of, how important it is not to shut people down straight away. Like, there's a lot of people who would love to meet and date people,
Mhm.
but by, they would, I don't like the look of him. I don't like the look of her, or, a couple of dates in, no, I'm not feeling it. Like, sometimes it's good to allow people to get to, for you to get to know each other a little more, to allow time
Mhm.
for scales to be lifted.
Mhm.
And I think your story is,
yeah, I think
Mhm.
the whole friendship thing is a really critical thing. You want to be able to at least develop a bit of a friendship. So and really ask the deeper questions, and I think a key thing is faith. Like, is there faith there? Is there potential for faith? With this person, is there openness? Is there? But I think above all is the honesty. Just being, is this a person that is trustworthy and is honest with you and is straight up, and being able to, care for your heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is this person willing to protect you, or with the guys protect, but also really care for your heart and really honor you as you should be honored.
Are you saying that as like the way that, like, Sheena's kind of saying, people don't necessarily give somebody a chance, but are you saying if you see those things present, then it's worth giving them a chance?
But I would say time.
Time.
Time is a critical thing. Like, after a date or two, the person might have had a bad day or been difficult at work and that, but just to be able to give, 3 or 4 dates or 5 dates or something like that. And it doesn't have to be a date. you know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, let's just go. And I guess it is a date when you're saying, hey, let's just go someplace, but it doesn't have to be one-on-one either. Like, just be with a group of people and to see how that's a really a good way to observe how they interact with everybody. And you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be intensity as one-on-one. It's like, no, let's just go and hang out with some friends. And
so you don't have to call it a date in order for it to be a date, or do you have to call it a date?
Well, it's all changed now.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
No, that's a very important thing, because I think a lot of guys are just kind of, hey, well, we're just being friends. And the girl's like, this is a pretty intimate moment we're having here. You know, it's like
3-hour coffees and then go grocery shopping together. And
no,
there's nothing there.
It's like the guys are, it's kind of, that's an interesting thing right now. It's kind of like, you know, no, you need to call it a date. If you want to date a person, you date. And the girls, if you're kind of like unsure, is this guy interesting? Tell them, are we dating? Like, just come straight out and just like, I think.
I tell girls, don't spend one-on-one time with a guy unless he's asked you out. I really don't think it's a good idea. Like, if he's just hanging out and wanting to spend one-on-one time, but he's not actually saying, I want to date you, or I want to get to know you in the, more exclusive way, I say, no, I just don't spend time one-on-one with guys. You know, I don't think I've had anybody take me up on my advice.
Yeah, I would say that's a rare.
Whenever I give that advice, people kind of nod and then don't take it, which fair enough. But I think that's it. To me, that's kind of like the clean ideal. You know, it sort of saves all the messiness. And I know there's some girls who have said it to guys, like, if this is a date, for sure. But if it's not, then no, I don't spend one-on-one time with guys.
We're in the Irish culture. I was talking to a girl a couple of nights ago, and she is formed differently. She's formed in a different culture, but she was dating an Irish guy, and 3 dates in, she's like, so what's your intention here? And he's like, well, I don't see this going anywhere. But she had the balls to actually ask the question. You know, she had the courage to actually ask the question, and there was clarity there. But he then perceived that as she's too forward, you know, and that type of thing. So but at least she had clarity, you know.
That's tricky. That is tricky, because in that a woman's in a funny place if seeking clarity.
Yeah.
Because it can feel as forward, which is a real turnoff, and it can almost like seal the deal that nothing's going to happen. So it's like
a self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing.
I think what it is it's like it puts the woman in a place where she's almost taking initiative, which most men don't like, and it makes her unattractive. And there's a way that if she's too like, you know, hey, I really like you, I want to go out with you. A guy is flattered, but it's almost like she's just sealed the deal that nothing's going to happen. I know that's not true exclusively. There's always, there's
exceptions.
There's exceptions, but kind of seems to be a rule, and that men want to be the one to be pursuing. And if, she went out with him 3 times. That's different. It's like, okay, well, what is this?
And that's what she was asking.
Yeah. And that I can see, I don't think that's too forward, but I think at the front end, it doesn't work, or a lot of girls will be in relationship with a guy, and it's like, they're getting all these clues that the guy is interested in them, but nothing's happening. He always seems to sit by them. And then, he kind of texts them early in the morning and different things like that. And they're like, what is this? And then they want to seek clarity on the relationship. And I generally say, don't. You just give what you're willing to give, and don't assume it is anything until he asks you out.
Don't share your heart.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Guard your heart.
Protect your heart.
Don't answer him. If he's texting you in the morning, don't answer him till noon.
Yeah.
Like, you keep your boundaries where you want them. And if he wants more, he has to ask for it. But don't be like because what happens usually, the girl wants something more. And so it kills her that she's in this place where she thinks there's something, but she doesn't know there's something. So she's just dying for clarity. And so she's like, what is this? Are we a thing?
Mm.
And the guy's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's almost like it just shuts the door. So I'm like, just don't do that. If you have hope something's going to happen, wait for it to happen, but don't make it happen.
And now let's speak to the guys.
Okay.
Like we're advising the girls what to do. Let's advise the guys. Be careful how you treat women. Be careful of their hearts. And try. We talk about it on training. Be emotionally chaste. Like, what does that mean, guys?
Don't be emotionally incontinent. What does that mean? It means whenever a man can't hold his water, he actually wets himself. It's the same thing. Like it's a good analogy. He actually wets himself because he can't control his own bladder. And in terms of the emotions, we need to be in control of our own emotions. We need to watch how we talk to women. We need to be careful that we're not leading them on in a way that would lead them to think that we're interested in them in a romantic way. And this is super important on mission because we don't encourage, we don't allow dating on, and we don't encourage attractions. It's not that attractions aren't good and healthy and from God, but that's something that we can't act on because it'll destroy the mission if there's two people of the opposite sex making eyes at each other across a team. That becomes, they get distracted and other people can see it. So anyway, we have to manage all that. But that's also true for the real world. Not that net isn't real. It's also true for the world outside of mission, that we've got to be careful that we're sending the right signals and that we're a gentleman in terms of our, that we're courteous, we open doors, this sort of thing that has kind of gone out of fashion, that we're actually treating the woman like a lady and that we put her needs before our needs. And if we are interested in a romantic relationship, that we actually try and send some signals. We have to guard our hearts as well because, we're putting ourselves out there. And it's a fraught with difficulties. It's not just the women who get hurt as well. It's the guys as well. And, James, build on that.
Yeah, I think just being able to, you said it right. Like, guys, guard your hearts too. But I think, something, you need good guy friends. You need other men that you can talk to about stuff. You shouldn't be looking for all your care and your emotional support and intimacy from women. It's like, if you've never had a dad because your dad left and you're used to just dealing with getting your care from women, from your mom or your sisters or whatever, that's okay. Your mom and your sisters, but don't bring that into the rest of the world where you need guys. You need guys that you can share with and to have true friendships with men that really, that you can care, that they can care for you and you can talk with honestly. And don't try to use women. Don't use women for emotional relief or comfort or I just need to talk to somebody. Well, I'll go talk to this girl. Well, you're sharing your heart with her when you're vulnerable and you're emotionally distraught. And it's like, that's like equivalent to a guy taking, equivalent to a guy taking, or a girl taking her clothes off in front of a guy. It's kind of like, our guys are stimulated by the physical. Women are stimulated by the emotional connection and the relationship aspect of it. Don't use that as a means to use her. Like it's just so wrong. And that's our culture. It's a using culture. And she's not an object. She's not an object of, she's a beautiful, beautiful person. And to really respect and honor her is the most beautiful thing you can do. And part of that is being chaste. And that's what this is being chaste with your heart, being chaste with your mind about her, being chaste with your emotional connection with her. Friendship is all based on caring for the other person, putting the other person first. And if you're able to really honor and care for her, that's the best way you can do it as a friend. To not share your heart, and try to use her to get an emotional relief.
James, I think you're assuming that
that's
men do
important.
that in order to manipulate a woman. A lot of guys just don't know that that's not okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I agree. They're not, it's a lot, yeah, totally. Thank you, Tony. It's not like intended a lot
Yeah.
of the time. It's just kind of like, that's what they're used to.
Mhm.
Or it's just,
They
well,
feel better after.
feel better after. So it's like,
Mhm.
why wouldn't I do that?
And Patty, how would a woman receive a guy sharing deeply about what's going on in his life to a woman?
Yeah, girls love that. You know, like love it when a guy opens up and starts
What does it tap
sharing and-
into?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's a connection, I think.
It's connection.
Yeah, I think
Relationship.
we just started starving for connection and for someone who like, and it's honoring too. Like if a man opens up and starts to share, it's like, oh, I'm a place he can do that.
Yeah.
Like I love to be that place.
Mhm.
You know, I love to be a place where he feels free and he's being
Honest.
vulnerable. It's like something. It's like there's an honoring feeling. I think of like I am what I. That's what I want. You know, I want to be that place.
Mhm.
But then with that comes I must be special to him. Like I think that translates as if he is opening up to me like this, then that means I'm somehow selected above the other girls to be that place of sharing. And so there must be something here. You know, he must like me and he must want a relationship with me. So it's like, that's almost like proof, you know, that they'll say we talked for 3 hours at coffee and he told me his whole life and now he's not calling. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why is he not calling? You know?
And so does that make him appealing whenever he does share his life with a woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Attractive?
Yeah.
Very,
And it's
very much.
it's like
if it's done well. I mean, I think
Yeah.
if it's really snivelly and like, oh, woe is me,
Manipulative.
and everybody's bad to me, and you know, if it's too complainy, I think
too
it's a
whiny.
bit of a turnoff. But if it's like a sincere sharing,
It's a gift
yeah.
of self.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're giving yourself as a gift freely to somebody else, you're flourishing. So you're more attractive.
Yeah. Yeah. And the intricacy of the person
Yeah.
is kind of on full
Yeah.
display.
So James, you talk about the guy supposed to share with other guys. What if he's not used to it and he hasn't had a father in his life and he's just not able, or he feels he's not able to share with other guys? He has like his guy friends, he might play football or he might be on a sports team. Like, what would you say to a fellow who finds himself in that position where this is like he's swimming out of his depth and he hasn't got the armbands on?
I totally agree. That's very, very difficult to find other guys that are interested or able to share with. But there is guys out there that are, you know, I'd say a good place to start is at your church. Do you know what I mean? Go to church, go start praying, and ask some priests. Says, hey, I'd be willing to. You know, there's another thing too, just about start up a household. Guys sharing a house together is a beautiful way to be able to say, hey, you know, like I can't afford renting this house, but if I put 3 or 4 guys together, hey, there's a bunch of us that can live together. And then you got, and be picky about the guys you're gonna live with, but then you've got some kind of community. You can start talking. You know, there's going to be a relationship there because you're going to be seeing one another. But you know, I think being able to just like you're picky about who you go out with a woman, be picky about your friends. You know, and be intentional about choosing some good male friends that are just kind of like, well, it's like that guy's great. He's got faith. I can see him praying, and he's a great guy, and you know, and I think, you know, I'd like to be friends with that guy, and then go and just start hanging out. You know, like I think it's important for guys to have good male friends, that somebody that you want to be like, and virtue has to be in there. You know what I mean? Like I can think of, you know, great guys that I've been friends with, and just absolutely, I want to be like them. You know what I mean? Like they're just virtue and good men.
What
Not
if he's
boys.
a gossip? What if he's a bit of a wag?
What do you mean a bit of a wag? What's a wag?
Somebody who actually talks about other people. What should you do in that situation?
Talks about other people. well, if he's talking about other people, he's going to talk about you too. So I wouldn't trust him. He's not trustworthy. So it'd be like, well, I don't want to share anything with him if it's going to be plastered all over the internet or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be trust there, and you've got to have an honest person. And so you go gently. You don't, you just start out with any friendship. You start out slowly and get to know one another. And it's not like you're hanging out. You know how you click with, and you're wrestling or you're playing football together and you're tackling this guy, and you know what I mean, or whatever. You know what I mean?
A sense of how good this guy is just from general interactions.
General interactions, but I think it's good to have. I love the household model. Just being able to have a.
What does that mean for somebody who doesn't know what a household is?
A household is just, like I said, rent is difficult these days. It's expensive to find housing. And so it's kind of like you're at college or whatever, and you're like, what a great opportunity to be able to figure out, okay, I need to live with some guys, and why not? Let's just choose I want to choose some guys that I really don't mind living with, and be really thinking about it and
intentional about
it, and being able to say, okay, these are the kind of guys I wouldn't mind living with. And I think, the faith aspect is
should there
critical.
be anything in writing in terms of the agreement that one would have with guys that one is living with?
An agreement?
Yeah. So say you get so I'm me, I'm not married, I'm moving to Ballybofey or Dublin, and I want to live with guys who are sort of interested in their faith. Maybe they're on a journey like me. Should we decide that we rent together? Is there an understanding that we should maybe put into writing, or at least have a verbal understanding that there are certain things that we want to have as a pillar in our household?
I definitely think that's a good idea. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think some kind of not rules, but a rule. It's
a rule for life.
Yeah, a rule for life. Hey, let's plan on encouraging one another to pray every morning. Okay, how do we do that? Well, this could be our prayer room, or I'm gonna, I'll make the coffee, and you guys can come in, grab your coffee, and start. We can just plan on encouraging one another to pray. Hey, once a week we're gonna have a meal together, or a couple times a week we're gonna have a meal together, and after that meal we're gonna just take some time just to hang out and share, or whatever. We could maybe go watch a football game, or
play darts,
or do whatever. But just to be able, because we're so busy too, like even guys that are out of university and they're working, work takes a lot of time. But if you don't, it's just like with Patty and I, if we don't make the time to set a time we can go for a date, it doesn't happen. It's the same thing with if you want to develop relationships with anybody, with the guys in your household, then you got to say, hey, this is what we're all agreeing to. Let's, and maybe that's before you sign a lease or anything, you want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So you're honest and open and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'd like in a household, and this is what I'd really enjoy. This is kind of the guys this is the kind of lifestyle I'd like to have, and I really want.
Have you lived in a household?
I did live in a household. Yeah, I was with a family. I lived there for 4 years, and it was awesome.
There are other single guys.
Other single guys there too.
And you had a share group.
I had a share group, and every week we'd meet as the guys. Those guys, the share group wasn't part of. Some of the guys in my house were part of that share group, but I definitely had a share group that I met weekly with.
So you were sharing deeply with the guys, and not back to full circle, not with a potential girl, because you had that covered.
Absolutely.
And I think that is difficult, because I don't think men naturally will share with other men. I think they almost have to be taught and almost forced in a way. Would you agree that there's
it's easier for women?
It's way easier for women, but even I think it's easier for men to share with women.
I actually think it's getting better in the culture. I think it's okay to say,
I do. You don't think they have to be taught?
I do think they have to be taught, but I think sometimes out of sheer pain and the fact that actually what we're doing isn't working, and I'm going to see a psychologist and I've got all sorts of mental health problems. it's okay to talk now and say openly, hey, I'm really struggling mentally. You know,
man to man.
Man to man.
Yeah.
That is more okay for a
That's
guy
so
to
good.
do that.
That is so good.
That is amazing. And you know, obviously,
I think we should get back to the story.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Back to the story.
I think I just to end this conversation off with, if you know you're new into a place, you don't know, start with your priest at your parish. He knows everybody, hopefully, or a lot of guys, and he knows the guys that are serious about their faith, and he can kind of point you in the right direction and say, hey, he can even maybe organize, hey, I'm gonna get a bunch of guys together, and you guys want to come out and hang out,
And chances are he's a dude himself.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, he's
Right.
a good guy.
Or share with a married man too.
Share with a married man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just be able to, somebody that's been in the area for a while, and they'll know who the guys are you want to hang out with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
And don't just assume because he's a guy and he's in the church that he knows how to share or
Right.
receive your sharing.
Right.
You might have to actually say, hey, look, I've heard of this thing. It's a share group or a small group where we just talk about what's actually going on with us. Really simple. And then, so are you okay to just talk about what's, you know, if we meet once a month or once a week, we're going to talk about what's going on with us. There are certain things that we're going to talk about every time,
Yeah.
like spiritual, physical, like am I exercising? Am I praying? How are my relationships? And am I doing anything? Am I reading anything? Am I learning anything? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
you know, just have a basis on which to go on
Yeah.
so that when you get there into your small group, that it's not awkward. What are we going to talk about this week? You know, that those are things that we'll just share on that.
And
Anyway,
if you know any net alumni, they know how to do it.
they know how to do
You know,
it exactly.
or if you don't, or go on net and
Yeah.
you can learn how to do it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
funny, I didn't have a share group for years. And now I'm in a share group with a small group, we call it, with a couple of guys. It is a game changer.
Oh, so
It's an
good.
absolute game changer.
Mm.
It is amazing. And just we talk about those four things
Yeah,
to start
beautiful.
off with. And then if one of us needs a bit of advice, the others are there to advise, but also to tease out and challenge and hold accountable for what it is that we've agreed on, the previous week. And
So good.
yeah, I'm so grateful for those guys. Really, really grateful for them.
Beautiful.
Sheena, sorry. I totally sidetracked the whole thing.
No, I just think we need to go back to
Yeah,
you
let's
guys.
go back.
Where were we? Where should we start?
Well,
so
let's
we
start on this
finished
next date.
So he was he was calling you every day.
calling every day. Yeah,
Sent you
that's
flowers.
right. Yep. He did send me flowers. The next day there was like massive, I don't know, they were like 3 foot high roses.
Wow.
And yeah, it was spectacular. And I'd look at them and think, okay, got to keep a door open for this guy. And then he came down again the next month. Turned out to be a full moon again when he came. And we did the 3 dates over the weekend kind of thing. And the last day, we were down on this moonlit lake near my parents' place. And I said to him again, James, this has been really nice, but I have to tell you, like, nothing's changing. And I really, all I can say, I know you said your heart's your responsibility, but I just can't do it. I can't just stomp all over you and let you come down and spend all this money and all this time for me to just say nothing's there. So I really think this needs to be our last date. And he just said, well, okay, how about this? What do you think of this? He's like, do you like me more this time than the last time I came down? And I was like, to think about it. And I was like, probably, yeah, I probably do like you a little bit more this time. And he said, okay, how about this deal? We'll keep going out until you like me less. As soon as you start liking me less, we'll end it.
Wow, James.
Right?
Holy smokes.
And I couldn't argue with it.
Bit of light
No.
there, just got to hang on to that light.
Did that just come to you in the moment?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Praise God.
Yeah, it
So-
was very God filled. It was grace filled. Like it was, I was praying about things. And God was speaking through me. I was amazed at what I was saying sometimes.
Whoa, somebody.
I was amazed. I had to be the Holy Spirit. I really felt the Holy Spirit was guiding it all. Do you know what I mean? And so then after that,
What part are you thinking?
well, after you're like, oh, okay, well, sure, okay,
Yeah, I was kind of like, okay, that seems like I can agree with that. Once I start liking you less.
You had an opt-out clause too.
A what?
An opt-out
An
clause.
opt-out. Right. It's
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. So
And
that's
plus,
not-
Patty, you're being really honest with James. Like
Oh, yeah.
you're saying,
Mhm.
I don't think this is going anywhere, and you're like hanging on. But
Yeah.
I would say, James, knowing you, and speak to this if it's true or not, your identity as a man didn't depend on whether or not Patty loved you. It was a bonus. Your identity on a man was hinged on something else.
Yeah. Like
and you were secure enough in yourself at that stage in your life to it wouldn't be nice if she crushed your heart.
Right. Yeah. No, it would have hurt, but you know something, I had, I knew God was the number one in my life, and and Patty is spectacular, and I'm sure I would have been hurt if she said no, or it's no longer increasing, and I'm definitely liking you less. I'd be like, okay, well, we gotta.
You probably would have come out with something else.
How much
Not
less?
kidding. Yeah, that's right. How much less? Okay, how about this?
But anyways, I think just being able to, it wasn't dependent on my happiness, and my fulfillment in life wasn't based on Patty. You know what I mean? It was based on the Lord, and I think, and that's why it's important to pray. You got to be able to pray, and be connected to the Lord, especially when you're dating, especially when and you should be having advice from other people. Like, I have a spiritual director, and when you're discerning, or you're starting to date, or you're wanting to date somebody, you should be talking to somebody that's wise.
Mm-hmm.
And even other married men that have a beautiful marriage. It's kind of like being able to talk to them and say, like, well,
Mm-hmm.
just get some advice from people that are in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to reinvent the wheel. This has been on a few times before, so talk to people that have been married for a few years and love in their marriage, and are in their faith, and just get some advice from them.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up, so anyways, after that, we decided,
Go ahead.
Patty we thought, this is, gosh, it was, you came up one more time. You came up to Canada then.
Yeah, so in between there, we went up to see, I can't remember now exactly,
Oh,
but
right.
we went up to see your spiritual director.
That's right.
And
It might have been that time.
And we took turns. I was convinced at the time that James wanted to be sure that I was mentally sound, but he claims that wasn't true. But so we both took, one-on-one with the spiritual director, and I told him I'm not attracted to James, and I don't see that changing. And I said he's a great guy, and he said, well, chances are that's not going to change. He said, generally, when you're not attracted, that's kind of how it stays. So, and I said, and I'm open to dating other guys right now. And my friends had a couple blind dates lined up for me, like a couple weeks, forward. And he said, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you're at a place where you should be dating other men and everything. Then James met with them, and I don't know if he said anything. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you said it to me. I was like,
because I met with him first.
I was like, what the heck? You're my spiritual director. You're supposed to be gunning for me.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Whose
holy
friend
mackerel.
are you anyway?
Yeah. And he's like, James, competition is
good.
Is good. Competition for you is good. And I was like, oh, not in this case. I don't like competition. But it was good.
It was good.
It was
yeah.
really good,
And then we drove home, and James held my hand for the first time in the car. And I actually got like the little electric feeling. I did. And I was like, okay, that's weird.
The tingly feeling.
Yeah. Like, I'm saying and I'm thinking, there's nothing
gosh.
here. I'm not interested. I don't feel anything like consciously, but then I have this like tingle in my hand. So I kept having like, I just kept being surprised, like I think I know what I'm thinking. And then I'm like kind of surprised again. So that was another little like, oh, I can't just write this off. I can't write him off no matter how much I try. I just can't seem to write him off. And then I went up to Canada for a weekend.
A month later or so.
Yeah.
Almost a month later.
Yeah. And we had a lovely time up there, and he introduced me to all his staff. It was music training time for Net Canada.
They were using my house at the time.
Yeah.
So.
And I was really embarrassed because I was like, everybody thinks I'm his girlfriend, and, and like that I just felt kind of like a phony, like, but then the last night again of the weekend, we had dinner at James's house, and
I told her, I said, you can't come outside.
I was doing dishes, clean up after after dinner, and he said, you can't come outside. And I could see him and hear him kind of running through the house, and I saw him with a hammer and a piece of wood and
drilling.
Like, what the heck is he doing? I'm just cleaning up, thinking, what the heck is this? And then, so he finished, and then he came in and got me, and he had a little deck, but it was really rough. So
it was a rough cedar,
He had put plywood down on the deck and drilled it in and set up speakers around the deck. And it was a full moon, and
I didn't know it was a full moon. And
we danced
started
on
dancing,
his deck.
And then all of a sudden this full moon comes up. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is.
Thank you.
So he made a little dance floor, and then we danced, out there for a while, and then he kissed me, and then we kissed for a while, and I was again like, this is nice. Like I was surprised that I wasn't
repulsed.
Yeah, really, actually. Because I
James, you're a good-looking fella. Like, I've seen photographs of you. Like, Patty, you make it sound like he wasn't good-looking. Like, he was an attractive-looking man.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I'm
not
saying that to give out to you. I'm just saying, like, but you just weren't attracted.
I wasn't. It's not, and I think that's a funny thing, because it's not always physical in a strange way. Like, there's guys who, I might see him and think, oh, he's really good looking. And then you start to talk to him and you're like, the good looks disappear, and he was I really liked his personality, but for whatever reason, it was like, he felt like a brother or a friend. I just couldn't, it wasn't so much that he wasn't good looking. It was more like he wasn't somebody I wanted to be romantically involved with,
So you had your kiss.
So we had the kiss, and again, I was like, okay, that's weird. Like, I really enjoyed that. And I received it, which usually I wouldn't. If men would try and be romantic with me, I was often like, go away. Like, I just wasn't interested. And so again, I was like, what is this that I'm receiving it from him in a way that I'm surprised that I was open to that. And then I decided after that, I was flying home, and I kind of felt like I was not cloud 9, but definitely like something had opened up for me. And I was in the plane, and I just knew, I was like, he will love me forever. It doesn't. And I just like, I don't even know how I know that, but I know that, like, I can slam the door on him. I can never talk to him again. And I will always be in his heart forever.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I still wasn't like in love or attracted. It was just like this knowledge that I had. And again, I was like, I can't just sneeze at this. I can't just blow this off. This isn't just nothing, this is something. And then something's happening in me too, but it doesn't feel like enough. And it's not what I was thinking was going to be. That's not what I thought love was going to feel like. My parents' love story, I think, really impacted me. And my dad would say, when you meet the man you're going to marry, you're going to love how he walks. You're going to love how he talks. You're going to love his humor. You're going to love everything about him. It's just going to be just this. And so I think that's what I was waiting for. And it was like,
Hollywood.
but that wasn't there. So therefore it's not love, but all this stirring that was happening, and yeah. And then I think, I don't remember if you came down again. I don't remember what happened, but we decided let's live in the same town and figure this out. And I thought it'd take me about a month or two to kind of like clearly think yeah or yay or nay. And so I moved up to Canada and kind of volunteered with Net for a little bit. And it was still very like, you're great. And I like spending time with you, but I don't think this is enough. I don't think this is love. And the Christmas came. So that was like October. I went up there. Christmas came. We both went back. He went back to his families. I went to my families. And
in there, we went out west to my family.
yeah, we went at Thanksgiving. We went out west to your families. And I think, is it getting too long?
No, it's
We're
good.
going okay.
How are we doing for time?
All right. So yeah, we went out west, and again, I kind of felt like a phony, meeting his family's all like, "Oh, this is James's girlfriend," and I'm like, "Oh, if you only knew." Like, but that was lovely meeting them and everything, and kind of seeing where you were from, and but then Christmas came, and I was showing somebody photos of our time together, and I know this sounds silly, but I actually was looking at a photo of James, and his eyes. I just was like, it was so kind. I was just really struck. Like, he is so kind and he loves me so much. And it was like this realization, I think I love him too.
Wow.
Like I just was looking at a photo and thinking I could kind of almost recognize it. Like, that's what that is. I love him. And so I think I called you and I said, James, I think I love you. And
I was like,
I think I love you. And before this, he had said to me, like, you just say the word and we're married, like we'll marry tomorrow, And so that's kind of what I thought was going to happen then. I was like, okay, I think I love you. Like, I'm on board. And he was like, oh, okay. Like, kind of surprised. And I'm telling him the story. And he's like, oh, like, I don't think he knew how to react. And then we went back to Canada and then you can maybe pick up.
Yeah, and so then we, at that time, when Patti said that, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been dreaming of, but I was just like,
what age are you at this stage, both of you?
30s. Well, I guess we married at 39 and 36, so this would have been
38
and 35.
Yeah, 38 and 35, and so I was just like, okay, I think I've been hearing no from her for so long. I was just like, okay, is this for real or is this another emotional, And so I was just like, okay, well, and so I didn't ask her to marry me right away. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, okay, and it was.
I think you said, let's just take some time.
Let's take time.
And I was like, what?
Let's take time and let's just keep dating and you come back up and we'll just keep this thing happening and make sure this is for real,
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really busy season as well. We were preparing for World Youth Day up there and we were doing a lot at World Youth Day and it was Toronto and it was really crazy. And then I had other business interests that I was doing, and it was actually one of the worst financial times I'd been in my life at that time. And I was just like, okay, how am I going to provide? Like, I really want to ask Patti. I think I'm pretty sure I want to ask her to marry me, but how am I going to provide for her? I can't even afford an engagement ring right now, And I'm just like, okay. And then it was like that, and then we were. Gosh, when was World Youth Day? Was it that summer then?
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, we I was just like, okay, can't afford a ring, and I thought, okay, I'm like, Lord, you got to really speak to me here. Do I get engaged without a ring? And I said, well, let's go on a retreat together. So Father Scott, who's a good friend of ours, McCaig, he's a bishop now, and
there was a little detail in between there though.
Oh, what?
Is that I got tired of waiting, and I said I'm going home. Like if you know where I am. If you want to get engaged,
you know my number.
You know my number. You come find me, but I can't be up here anymore, kind of waiting for something to happen. So I'm gonna go home, and I bought a plane ticket to go back like in a week.
Wow.
So I was serious. I was just like, I got to start making money again and just get on with life. And,
Do you think he was wasting your time at that stage?
Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah, I did. I thought, and I couldn't get it. I didn't understand. I was like, wait, what happened? Like it was pursue. And then I say, okay, yeah, I'm ready. And then nothing. It was just everything stalled. And I thought, okay, fine for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I was like, I'm kind of done. So it was beginning of May. And I said, I'm just going home. And you figure it out. Like whatever it is that you need to have happen, I get it, but I just can't stay here anymore. And then you said, okay, let's do an 8-day retreat.
8-day silent retreat.
And it was going to end on the day ended on the Friday, and I had a ticket booked for the Saturday morning. So it was like, then we did an 8-day retreat with Bishop Scott, or who was Father Scott at the time.
Yeah. And so we went and did the retreat, gets to the end of the retreat. And I was like, Lord, please speak to me. Give me confirmation, And so I put the fleece out.
Mm-hmm.
I says, I really love nature. And I says, I'd like to see some deer today. I've been up here for 8 days and I haven't seen any deer. And, and give me a scripture. And I at this time, I can't remember the scripture, but it gave me the scripture in the morning during my prayer time. I was like, wow, that's a powerful scripture,
What was the scripture?
I can't remember. Can't remember now, but I remember I was impacted. But then I was just like, okay, now, where's the animal? Where's the deer? I walked down the road, and here's this family of deer right there in this field, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I knew in my heart that I wanted to marry Pati, but it was just like I thought I'd be more financially secure to do that, and so then I come back, to after my walk, and I was just like, okay, we're going to be leaving this afternoon, and so I go talk to Father Scott, and I'm like, yeah, I want to ask Pati to marry me. And anyways, I was really nervous. I was just so nervous. I wasn't thinking straight at all, and it was Pati was wanting, she's like, okay, we're ending this retreat. Okay, so there's going to be an answer, and I knew what the answer was going to be. I knew I was going to ask her to marry, but where and when, and I'd had some ideas of what, if I was to marry her, this is where I'd want to be. I want to marry her, or I want to ask her to marry me in a place that's going to be there for a long time.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's free. Share with your family and friends. Enjoy.